guys? Keith, aka GatorGuy231, here to bring down Spurs versus Everton, the showdown on DraftKings. We are up to 120K rather than the standard 100K. So crazy for a soccer person to say a standard 100. But should be a fun slate. I'm not necessarily always the biggest fan of Spurs showdowns, but you know, if DraftKings is going to refuse to give Lo Celso a good price, then I'm just going to keep enjoying being able to hit the lock button on him. I'm going to go into that here shortly. Just want to give a quick plug. Please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's really helping us be able to keep growing and make all this content possible. Hit like, comments, everything's appreciated. And then if you do want to join FSI Discord for premium soccer content with me breaking down all the cash and GPP plays from every slate and core plays for every slate on DraftKings and FanDuel, hit below. The $40 special is gone, but it's $10 a week. Keep going until we are done and every slate is covered. All right, let's jump into this game. It's going to be a shorter preview today. What I'm going to do is, per usual, we're going to go over odds, going to go over player by player, just who to target, and then going to work in some GPP concepts for those that are trying to take down the 100, the big GPP. I'm going to go over some ownership leverage, all that stuff. So as we see, Tottenham's slight favorite at home, minus 105, Everton's plus 275. So both teams are pretty much a dead even set split if we see their normal lineups. Lo Celso and Heung-min Son, Sonaldo, as I will call him, split for Spurs, while Lucas Dean and Gylfi Sigurdsson split for Everton. For PKs, I do think it's worth noting. I'm getting this question a lot because we have seen so many. Harry Kane for Tottenham, and then on Everton's side, for who the hell knows what reason, because he has been so bad at them over 2 years. But Gylfi Sigurdsson, as we found out last week, for Everton's first PK of the season, took it and did convert. So it'll be Gylfi Sigurdsson for Everton. Let's start with Spurs, where there's going to be a lot of the ownership, not only because they are favored, but they have players that just look more DFS friendly. So Harry Kane will be. I actually have him projected as the number 2 most owned player on the slate, behind Heung-min Son. But Harry Kane, it's always goal or bust with Harry. He has an okay floor for shots, but you're really gonna need a goal to pay off that price tag. Heung-min Son, not only has good goal scoring odds, but also has the ability to, be on sets, play us out wide, cuts in, takes a lot of shots. So he is the highest floor on Spurs. Don't think Dele Alli is going to be in. I heard he's struggling for fitness. So we have Dele Alli that might give way to like Steven Bergwijn. Maybe the system changes up a little bit. Or maybe even we see Lo Celso play as like a number 10. But watch that. But I did hear Dele Alli's struggling for fitness. If he is in, he's GPP only, as is Lucas Moura. Not because I don't dislike Lucas Moura, not because I don't dislike that he's playing wide. He's just always a sub risk, especially if Bergwijn's on the bench. And, at his price, you're going to have to get a goal or assist. I'm kind of bearing the lead. Lo Celso, I don't know what the heck is up with DK and why they don't price him up. I think, honestly, it's because he does not have a goal or assist this season. So the algorithm is not catching up on, how productive from a floor perspective he is. But he just keeps producing, takes half the corners. I do think at this point he's like Mourinho's favorite player. Mourinho just said that he wouldn't let Lo Celso go for Bruno Fernandez. Okay, Jose. Okay. But anyhow, does not change the fact that he's an awesome DFS player. Draws fouls, gets tackles, crosses, all the good stuff. So he'll be an easy plug and play into your lineups. Serge Aurier is probably the other really big cash play. So Aurier, Lo Celso, and Son, just good crosser of the ball, very active and open play at the fullback position. So I think he'll be very popular in cash as well. I do want to point out Jan Vertonghen. So he is a center back by trade, but if he's out on the left, Vertonghen's had some big days at fullback. Really good crosser of the ball. I do much prefer him to Ben Davies. You always do have the worry that Spurs kind of do like this mini back three thing here where Aurier almost flips up as a winger and Vertonghen doesn't attack too much. But we've also seen Mourinho change that. If he wants to be more attacking minded, he thinks that the Spurs can grab a goal early. He'll let that left back bomb forward a bit. A couple of weeks ago, we saw Ben Davies, I think, show up with 5 or 6 crosses. So, tactics change game to game. A lot of times you will see the left back for Tottenham not get forward too much. But I will say this about Vertonghen. He's a set piece threat. Scores a lot of goals on corners over his career. So a very good play as well. Dyer, Sanchez, Sissoko, all just there. Sissoko had a really good game last time out. He's cheap. He's on the field. He plays for Spurs, so he's in play, but there's not much to go over from a DFS perspective. I'm going to hit goalies at the end of this. So I'm going to pause on Lori's. For Everton, Lucas Dean will be probably the in between. He might be out Kane. I doubt it. I think it'll go Son, Kane, Dean, Lo Celso, or some version of like Lo Celso maybe in front of Dean. But those are going to be the 4 most popular players. Definitely in cash, probably in GPP. But Lucas Dean's best player in Everton for a DFS perspective. Takes half the corners at left back, takes some free kicks, and then crosses a ton in open play. Especially if Everton's down, you will just see him continuously bomb forward, hit the byline a ton. Just kind of an easy plug and play for cash. Let's then go to the strikers. So to me, both of them are more GPP dependent because of goals, but I do like them both here. Tottenham hasn't exactly been the consistent defense that you expect under Mourinho. I can't remember the stat exactly, so I'm going to butcher it. So apologies. But it's something along the lines of like they've allowed like either the 3rd or 4th most goals in the Premier League since Jose has taken over. So, we get this thought process that just because it's Jose, the Spurs is going to be this great defensive squad, but they are not. So I'm going to be talking about on GPP leverage, but Everton's strikers could really be an interesting play for GPP. But Richarlison does have the better floor because of fouls drawn. Calvert-Lewin, since the turn of the year has been fantastic under Ancelotti. So I like him. I said it last time when Richarlison scored, but I still like it from an ownership perspective. He'll come in a lot lesser owned than Richarlison. Both are GPP though. Gylfi will be interesting how people treat him. So without the goal last week, he would have been quite terrible. He did split the corners, but I don't know, man. This is not the Swansea Gylfi that Everton signed up for. He's just kind of continuously been lost. So I think it's probably a little steep for the slate, but we'll see how builds go. It is an okay play for safety. Good old DFS 101 in soccer is take the set takers and then make it all fit. So if you did that, Gylfi would make your lineup. Andre Gomes and Anthony Gordon. I'll just put this about Anthony Gordon. Young kid, academy kid, looked great last week. Did get the assist. He's going to sub out. We know that for sure. He's going to probably play 60 minutes if he's in. A guy like Bernard could easily start over him. I guess we will see, but maybe it's like a last man in type of thing that works. But I don't know if you go there for cash unless you're just stuck and you just go, hey, do I want Musa Sissoko or Anthony Gordon? Well, one's wide, maybe has some more of attacking upside. So you go there. Alex Iwobi's fine if you land on him. I kind of want to have my one and done with Iwobi. I had him in cash against Norwich, and he had the foreplay game of his life. And since then, I don't really want to go back. But he's a good player. As much hatred as he gets, he's fine. Just not somebody I'm going to go out of my way to target. Seamus Coleman, fine for cash, and then obviously you have your center backs, are the last man in, hopefully for a goal. All right, let's talk about goalies. Hugo Lloris is going to be really highly owned. Just look at his logs. People are going to flock to those double digits. He could easily be 30, 40%. On the other hand, though, Jordan Pickford will be half to a quarter of that ownership, maybe 10 to 20. And arguably, I keep mentioning this, but dogs often, sorry for the burping, but dogs often have more ceiling than the favors. I'll just take, for instance, I got very lucky yesterday, but I had a ton of Alex McCarthy from Southampton in cash. He was my cash keeper in Classic. Then I actually played him in cash and Showdown. I don't play Man City Showdowns too much, from a huge volume perspective. But I just thought like down there in that like 4K range, I could take like Walker Peters. I could take who else could I have taken? Oriol Romeu or like a center back. And that's fine. You know, that might get you like 5 to 60K. Walker Peters had a great game. But I'm just sitting there, I'm like, you know, Alex McCarthy could show up with a 20 spot if he has like 5 saves and a clean sheet, or maybe he gets 10 saves but concedes 3 goals. So you're still at 14 DK because he was just going to be under so much pressure. And then obviously, you know, Southampton wins 1-0. You know, Alex McCarthy's pretty much scores 2 goals by I think it was 7 saves. So he scored 24 DK. So, you know, just keep that in mind with dog keepers. You know, not only are they going to go under owned, and McCarthy was like under 10% in every format. So whether it was classic or showdown, just no ownership. But keep in mind that they can show up with bigger games in because Spurs is the better team, has the better players. If Pickford stands on his head, has 6 saves, and Everton get 1 goal from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and you have both in a lineup, that's not going to be replicated very often. You run it back with Gio Lo Celso, Heung-min Son, Serge Aurier on it's like a Tottenham onslaught trying to chase the game. You win GPP. So that's kind of, so there would be scenario 1, like Everton wins 1-0, right? Make sure you have Jordan Pickford because he's likely going to be either the first or second highest scorer on Everton. And then you run it back with, you know, the peripheral pieces of Tottenham. You don't think they're going to score a goal, maybe fade Kane, and you go. Just keep that in mind with dog keepers. They're always going to come in under owned compared to the favorites. So that's like, I think GPP strategy number 1. GPP strategy number 2 is, you know, you incorporate the favorite keeper in a game flow. So let's talk about like a game flow that Tottenham wins 2-1 or 2-0. You know, who's going to score the goal? Probably Harry Kane, right? At least one of them. So you do something like Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Gio Lo Celso, Hugo Lloris. So anytime I'm making a GPP line, I think like there's a potential of a shutout. Any sort of shutout, you're going to want to incorporate the goalie because unless there's going to be like 3-4 goals, odds are that goalie is going to be one of the 2 to 3 highest scores. So you need to have him in that GPP concept. Like, and they're still not priced to an extent. I think Lloris is 7K. They're still not priced to an extent that, you know, if he was 10K, maybe you could avoid it, right? But at 7, not so much. So, you know, you could say Kane's going to score, Son has a great floor and probably involved the goal. Gio Lo Celso, Hugo Lloris. Now, can I get like Serge Aurier? If I can't, maybe I have to drop down to John Vertonghen. Okay, I need 1 Everton piece. Depending on how quickly the goal is scored, you know, could be almost like a mini Everton onslaught in terms of crosses. So I definitely want Lucas Dean, and you roll from there. So you keep thinking about who's going to score the goals. Now, if you think it's 1-1, right? 1-1 game is the scenario where we want nothing to do with goals because we just don't know how many saves they're going to get. Because if each guy only shows up with 2 saves, concedes 1, each guy has 2 DK, and you have no shot of winning. So, you know, in that situation, you're all about set takers and trying to get the goals right, make it work. Yeah, so I think that kind of just covers the build. So I'm just going to run through plays one more time in terms of just cash and optimal. So best cash plays on Tottenham: Son, Lo Celso, Aurier, with a mix of Kane in there just because of ownership, and then Vertonghen. For Everton, the cash plays are Lucas Dean, Gylfi Sigurdsson, Seamus Coleman, with maybe a hint of Anthony Gordon if we saw him start. If not, Bernard is okay, and Alex Iwobi if he's there. My favorite GPP plays on the slate, probably leveraging Dominic Calvert-Lewin off of Richarlison. Richarlison will always be owned because that's just what he does. So if you get the goal from DCL versus Richarlison, Yahtzee. The Tottenham side, I think, you know, maybe like showing up with a Bergwijn or a Mora, it will be the lowest owned of the goal scorers for Spurs. And then, you know, ultimate goalie I want to do one more scenario. 0-0, very, very, very potential to play both goalkeepers. You know, there's 10 points there of clean sheet bonuses, and not many people enjoy playing 0-0 type of outcomes. So keep that in mind. All right, hope this helps. Really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks again, and have a good day today.